Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. Whoa. Please. Test, test. Test, test.
Testing, testing.
Roll call.
Fullerton,
Here.
Christensen,
Present.
Chin,
Here.
Brummett,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Rodriguez,
Present.
Newman.
Present.
Mayor Fullerton, you have a quorum.
I have an invocation by Pastor Jensen.
Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day, the beautiful weather, the opportunity to come together as city council. I pray that you have your hand on them, that you guide their paths, their decisions. We pray for our city of Charlotte. We pray for our councilmen, and we pray too that you God bless America. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Rise for the pledge.
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have tonight approval of minutes from the February 23rd meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Corrections? I have only one. It's under roll call on the first page. Mayor Fullerton, Mayor Pro Tem Rodriguez was not here at that time. And then Councilmember Fullerton was not here either. It's just, and those should actually say whoever's actually here, and then they should say two absent, and those two were Brummett and Rodriguez at the time. And then we will find where Mayor Pro Tem Rodriguez got here and then insert
Yes.
his, that he arrived at the council meeting at whatever point that was. Everybody okay with that?
I do.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no council members absent, therefore we'll move on to public comment. Public comment. Anybody like to come to the front?
Angela Whitwer, State Representative. I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's been going on at the House. This morning, I was in Charlotte and I read to kids at Upper Elementary, and then I gave My Place Diner the Small Business of the Month award. We also gave Kristen Toadvine at Charlotte High School the Teacher of the Month. And I spoke at the Charlotte Optimist Club last week, so I've been out here quite a bit lately. And then there's two bills packages that are done that kind of affect Charlotte. One is I'm on a package for horse racing, and it's for our fairgrounds and our fairs. And I'm leading that package, and we were able to get the schools to be neutral at it. So we actually think that the bill package will pass, and it will probably be signed into law. So we're excited about that because it will help our Charlotte Fair also. And then there's a lot of information on this, but I sent out a news release last week. I'm going to be interviewed in the paper tomorrow for the horse racing bills, but mostly for the drain code bills. So we do have about 14 bills that we put together, and it is basically to try and hold drain commissioners accountable for what's been going on, and also kind of chip away at the edges. Drain code is in the Constitution, so it's very difficult to pass anything that will go into effect. But we think if we just require drain commissioners to bid projects, right now they don't actually get bid out, and to do certain things with the timeline and be able to have people request their name off of the petitions in a better time so they don't find out after the costs come out that they signed on to. And then a script, so if someone shows up at your door and asks you to sign on to a petition for drain work, you actually are hearing that you are going to pay for this drain, and there's a script that goes along with it. So those actually it's called dropped last week, and they are now assigned to a committee, and they'll be moving forward right now. And the Senate has the duplicates for that. To try and hold drain commissioner support.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Anyone else for public comment? How about online? No one online? That brings us down to approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second to approve the agenda as printed. Anybody have anything they'd like to change on it?
Are we doing consent now or when we get there?
You can do that when you get to the consent agenda.
Okay.
All those in favor of approving the agenda as printed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Communication and committee reports. Mr. City Manager.
Quickly through it, I'll have Chief Brentar, if he'd come up and just talk a little bit about the flock camera policy issue or question that rose at the last meeting. And so we thought we would just follow up with a very brief, concise explanation.
Sure. I know Councilmember Chin asked if we had a policy on this, and yes, we do. We had a policy before they were actually installed. The license plate readers monitor just a handful of things. One, stolen cars or stolen plates, missing people, including children on Amber Alerts or elderly people on Silver Alerts, and people who have warrants for their arrest out of the National Crime Center Index. That's the only things they monitor. All that data is only kept for 30 days, and then it is automatically deleted.
Any questions from Chief Brentar? Mr. Chen?
Is the information captured by those cameras open for freedom of information?
I believe it is. That I don't actually know right off the top of my head, but I believe it is. It can be utilized for that.
And really, the only reason I ask about it, because I had read an article that some cities have adopted the cameras and no policy, and the state is looking at either prohibiting them or creating their own policy for those that don't, so.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have one, that's good.
Is that something you'd like to answer to then? Have him look up and send us to the manager? that-
Oh, yeah,
Whether
yeah.
it's open for freedom of information?
Yep.
Okay. Sure. You can do that. Any other questions? Mr. Ryan?
I think it's no secret I see these cameras as a violation of our rights. I don't think we should have them. I voted against them every time it came up. Generally speaking, I know that the council here as a whole, supports them. But I do have a couple of questions just for my knowledge and the citizens' knowledge. The 30 days of information, when the flat cameras are working, are those taking pictures of all the license plates that pass by, or is it restricted just to, I don't know, like you put into the system, look for this one, and then it starts looking for that one?
Sure. So it does take a picture of the vehicle in the back of the vehicle and the plate, and then it'll hold that for 30 days.
Yeah. So a law-abiding citizen who's broken no laws, and as far as I know, I'm not under any investigations
Correct.
whatsoever. My data is being stored for 30 days. I'm being tracked for 30 days. My
you're-
coming going around the town and where I'm at.
Well, you're not being tracked because unless we're looking for it, you're not being tracked.
That data is
And
saved somewhere, so people.
It is
have
being
access.
saved, but we don't access it without a complaint number and a reason to be going in there and searching for it.
Yeah.
So we can't just go, hey, I wonder where so-and-so has gone. Let's just pull it up and have some fun with it. Like, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually have a crime. You have to have a complaint number. That all has to get entered in your reason for search.
Got it. Are you familiar with a case in Wisconsin where a gentleman searched his girlfriend and girlfriend's ex-boyfriend 170 times? The reason, this is all he had to put in for the search, investigation. Put in the word investigation, that's all he had to do to access that data. So my question is, what kind of safeguards do you have in place to assure that anyone can't just type in one word, and how is that monitored?
Sure. So I run an audit on it periodically, and I look at all the complaints that it's being run for. My supervisors are tasked with letting me know when they're doing that. So if they do use it for a particular reason, I'm to receive an email so I can review it and look at it. And then obviously if we've got some issues, we have a disciplinary policy that will address those issues.
Okay. Yeah, I think it needs to be said because I'm asking these very pointed questions, and someone could get the idea that maybe I lack some kind of trust in you. When I first got here, and I want to make this clear to everyone, when I first got here, we had a private conversation about some things. And that conversation led to me having a very high level of respect for you and a high level of trust based on that conversation and what was discussed. And so I don't worry about you, but I worry, this is all over the country. There's many sheriffs. There's many cases of abuse and misuse, and I just want to make sure there's policies in place. Now, another thing that has shown up a lot is that the AI sometimes has a hard time tracking a B from an 8 or a 5 from an S, an O from a Q. So there has been instances, at least through my research, I could be wrong on this, but I found lots of instances that came up where it catches something and police officers are warned about maybe someone who has a warrant out for their arrest, and it's a very dangerous situation. And so people get pulled over at gunpoint and you have the wrong person, despite the fact that there was other markers. For instance, maybe you got the wrong state, same number, wrong state. So are there policies or protocol where the officers have to do like a state match, or do they have to visually verify that information?
per-
Color of the car, that stuff?
Yeah, per the policy, they have to visually verify all the information. They cannot take enforcement action based upon the reading of the system on it by itself. So you're right, it can mistake a 5 for an S or whatever have you. They can't just go, oh, there it is, and just stop somebody because of it. They have to get behind it, they have to look at it to verify it. They have to run it themselves before they can take any enforcement action.
Perfect. That's good to hear, because obviously, people wonder, hey, what kind of risk are there, especially because this has happened. My last question is just around liability. So in case of a mistake, who's held liable? Does Flock take any responsibility, or does it all fall on the city and the police officer's responsibility to site check this information?
I'd love to give you a definite answer, but I think that's going to be kind of a case-by-case basis, depending on what happened, the circumstances surrounding it. We've had it where we've had false reads, but guys haven't taken any enforcement action because they knew it was a false read. So depending on the circumstances, I can't tell you it's going to be like all on Flock or all on us, or I don't know that I could narrow that down for you enough to go, yes, it's going to be this or that. I think it's going to be very circumstance dependent.
Got it. All right, I think that's all my questions. I just want to restate that, especially to the citizens of Charlotte, that I think we have an excellent police chief. I think we have great officers. I've had interactions with them a few times just for me being parked at where I used to rent, and they stopped me, and the level of respect and the questions, and they didn't overtake up my time. So I think you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate you answering those questions.
Thank you.
Quick follow-up, Chief. Have you had any liability complaints since you
No.
had the Flock cameras in place?
No, we haven't had 0.
So we haven't had any problems. Great.
I have one. I woke up to this headline this morning, in my news feed. Kansas town uses license plate reader to go after man who wrote op-ed. So we've been talking about what we can and can't do based on policy and maybe law, but that obviously didn't stop anyone. So I'm just wondering, who's the actual gatekeeper to piggyback on that? Is it you?
Yep.
Or is it you? Yeah. Okay.
That falls back on me.
So whether this is an ethical operation really depends on you. That's not comforting.
As I understand it, and maybe everybody in this room has been down to see the actual display that you see, and similar in the car, but I have. And I do believe that it seemed like it very much mimics those on the toll road. And nobody has a problem with the toll road sending you a ticket for passing on the toll road. And I can't say I've ever gotten a toll ticket for a road I've never been on. So the mistake was probably pretty cleaned up in the past before Flock took the technology to the next level. And if I lost my daughter or my wife, you can guarantee any opportunity to be able to find them would be on me. But the accountability being what it is when it comes to the potential of pulling over someone else. I would think with the short time that we've had it in this place, and then we've had missing children, that it would have shown one way or the other a negative by now. But everybody who's uncomfortable and unfamiliar with the things that come about, instead of asking questions of the source, which I appreciate the fact that you're here and hopefully not feeling put on the point, that this is the way things can be handled, but it also can be handled by just simply going to the department, saying, can you show me how this works? And then you'll either feel more comfortable or you'll have a legitimate reason for feeling the way that some people feel. So I thank you for the ability to ask this in public, but I appreciate the fact that every one of us can ask you in private. So that's my take on the matter.
So the reason he's here is we do have a policy, and you guys, if you want to go talk to him about it, I think that'd be the better way to do it. If you have further questions, I'm sure he's willing to answer,
Absolutely.
show you anything that you're not comfortable with. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Back to the city manager.
Just like a second follow-up item is who monitors the tax increment finance activities, typically handled with community development director and or city manager in conjunction with the TIF boards. In Charlotte, it's the DDA, Brownfield, and Local Development Finance Authority. Turnover's been a problem. LDFA and Brownfield, not concerned with the DDA. Our chairperson keeps a pretty good eye on it, working with Selena. But that really is what, and I know with upcoming this week, we've got a meeting with the Brownfield members as well. And as I put in there that there's still some more work to do, but our finance director, Christina Horton, actually has reconciled everything going back to 2017 for the Spartan Brownfield now shift. And so we'll have their meeting on there. I think we're up to date to where we need to be, but really the boards do play an important part. Actually, I've had so far is where they actually approve the payment and reimbursement so that they know what's going on. So that's how we, like to set the system up for the new manager coming in to have a system like that to work with. We talked about Title IX policy change. I do want to talk with the city attorney a little bit further about that before I bring it back. I haven't had a chance to. Reith Riley, contract extension. We talked about maybe bringing it back this meeting. Public Works Director Stephanie Whitney's is working on some streets to maximize our repaving program this spring. So we'll have hopefully at the next meeting, I don't know if you're pretty close. She was working on it this afternoon. And then water and sewer rates, we talked about that. It was a couple of comments during our budget priorities. We did a study in 2023, didn't do anything. Recommendation was to do 5% each year. I'm looking at doing an update with Municipal Analytics, who actually did the report. I had worked with them when I was interim in Dundee, and they keep, about every other year, they'll come in and give you an update. The capital projects will change, the cost estimates, and this would be in line with it and give you a kind of a forecast of where you're going, since nothing happened for 3 years, to address some of the capital costs. Now, what they do is they'll take what Stephanie has provided, plug it in the program, and start mapping it out, whether with the financing and or the rates necessary to complement some of that financing. So, okay.
Anyone have questions for the manager on any of his report?
When the report first came out, I was on council, and there was a motion to increase the rates. And the first year it did pass to increase the rates. And then the second year we said no.
Didn't do it. Okay.
So I'll double check too.
All right,
but
yeah.
I remember that it was in conjunction with that rate
Study.
report coming out. Yep.
If I may, just as a conclusion, that's why I think at least every other year to look at it, because it keeps the council aware where you are in relationship to your capital and operating expenses and what rates are needed to continue to fund the operation. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Move on to staff report. Chill grant update.
Selena just gave a written report about the chill grant that you have in there, that the applications have closed and grant's now moving on for next phase.
Questions? Chill grant?
Yeah, the Chill Grant, we're also recognized as one of the best at administering that program so far. I think we've completed 2 projects, and there's a number of projects that are coming up. But MISTA's real happy with our performance, and I think that's why they increased it for next year by $100,000, I believe. So, and it's because of the work that was done and how we administered it. So I just wanted to add that, and thanks to our Community Development Director, Selena, for keeping that in line.
Okay. Brings us to council member committee reports. I'll call on Mr. Christensen first, but I want to also say It was great to see this type of writing, because you can go back and reread something, and rather than just try to take it all in there at the council meeting, plus we're saving a ton of time. So if you have reports like that, it'd be nice that everybody could get to doing something like this, unless you got a real quick 5-minute report. But then the clerk can also have a copy of what you said, and that helps her out a lot. So if you got a report on a committee, try to do something like this. Maybe not exactly. I'll call on Mr. Christensen now to report on the planning commission.
It was an interesting meeting for sure. I know the sense in the room was, I don't want to say relief, but I think there's some excitement building that people actually want to come to Charlotte and build. You know, they want to invest in the city, and they give a nice presentation. They were very open with their answers. No issues there at all. Followed the procedure great. I didn't even realize that, switching gears here to the fireworks, that it wasn't going to come to planning anymore. There was going to be a different approval process for when they submit their request. So that was good to know. And other than that, it was just a pretty smooth meeting. Some new folks elected into their new seats when Councilman Brummett came over here to us. So that was pretty well it. I thought the best way to sum it up was just to put it down there and kind of give a short explanation about what they presented.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Jen?
I spent last week with the University of Michigan sustainability students that are working on E-Tran, and we filmed a, quote, commercial that they're developing to help support the E-Tran renewal millage that will be coming up in November. The county's already approved it to go, and it was, we filmed it like Tuesday at 11, and I think by Wednesday night, they had put a finished product together and sent it for us to review. So it was pretty quick for a TV commercial or a something that you can put on the social media pages, et cetera. So it's technology in their hands is something else.
No one else went to any committees?
The last Parks Board meeting that I went to, which has been a minute ago, I don't know if you got a report. Did a report get submitted to you all? Anyway.
If you didn't write one, we wouldn't get it.
Right, okay. Well, I did not submit it because I wasn't here. But the Oak Park project is moving forward, just so that everyone knows. Some of the older playground equipment was removed. All of a sudden, everyone realized that it was there, but there'll be new stuff coming. The pavilion is now gone too. There'll be a much nicer pavilion for anyone who didn't know that, up and coming. In addition to that, there was some talk at the last meeting about the trail project, the conjunction with the city along with some of the other entities that are involved, and there was a letter submitted and approval of the Parks Board in favor of partnering with that extension of the trail program off towards the Nashville, Vermontville area. And I think it summarizes most everything that went on, just to bring you up to speed. If there's anything I left out, I'll make sure that you know at the next meeting.
Okay. Brings us to do the consent agenda. Was there some changes that want to be made by the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to remove 10B to the regular business, so I can ask a question.
10B,
Yep.
royal appointments.
Yep.
We'll make it G on the business agenda. Anything else somebody wants to move? There's 2 other items. If not, we'll proceed with that. The consent agenda then will consist of approving claims and expenditures totaling $499,572.08. And we would approve a 2026 Arbor Day proclamation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion?
Not discussable.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to the business agenda. First item is a consideration to authorize the Charlotte Junior Orioles to build a new press box. And you had a letter. So is there a motion on that item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll support that.
Moved and seconded. Now we can have discussion, or we could have, I don't know if anybody is here from the Junior Orioles. They would be glad to, would council like presentation from them or not?
I'd like one.
Yeah.
You would like one?
Yeah.
They can come up.
Do you have questions, or what are you looking for?
Just tell us so that anybody listening or doesn't have this paperwork in front of them would know that you're going to build a new press box. It's going to be this big and who's going to pay for it and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we are in the phases of looking for a builder. We want to rebuild a press box. As many of you know, the press box and the bleachers that were there are gone. Those were removed. Thank you. And then we're looking to add just a press box at this time so that we can continue with our football operations, serving our tackle grades 3rd grade through 8th. And then we do flag football in the spring and fall as well. We're looking to add in a press box that's similar in size. The location will remain the same. And we're working through getting some quotes from different builders at this time. We are going to be paying for this. We're not asking the city to be paying for the press box. Anything that I left out?
I don't think so. I guess I would just mention that we did ask for 3 bids from 3 different builders, all of which are local. Our goal is to support locally if we can, and if it makes sense for the organization, while obviously using, the best we can for our money. So I guess I don't think I have anything else.
Questions from the council? Mr. Chin.
I had one regarding, your organization is carrying liability insurance, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the contractors are licensed contractors?
Yep.
And do you know, and this might be more for Captain Dan or Deputy Chief Dan, ADA requirements? Are there any under the code?
There's a paved path all the way to the press box, so it's handicap accessible.
Okay. That's all.
And just because I happen to know that the cost is around $50,000, they're not talking about a $10,000
Right.
shack. It's 50,000 in that area, if they're lucky.
Yeah.
There's other things that have to be added to it, so. No other questions?
Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion to approve it, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is consider approval of the pivot group to facilitate city manager search.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to hire pivot group for a city manager search. Is there any discussion?
Would you please share with everyone kind of what the committee discussed around having them just meet with some of the department heads and what James or Mr. Freed was willing to do for us there?
Yes, I think, one of the things that we talked about was, having, so on the front end, input from some of the department heads, what they might think would be good characteristics, qualities for a city manager, and certainly talking with Mr. Freed that he's certainly willing to put together the structure that I think ultimately will become, kind of a questionnaire that comes to council, but also get on a Zoom meeting with the department heads to, discuss it as well. So I think that, having just in my general experience, I always thought that was helpful to get their perspective. But at the end of the day, the consultant will share that with council, what perspective they're receiving from department heads, and then ultimately you'll go forward with, help develop the profile that will help him with the search process.
And I just asked that because I'm personally in favor of going with Pivot Group here. And also, I think it's good that they're going to be able to do those as well. And I think he said no extra charge to do some of those.
That is correct, yeah.
So that's a perk of him, saying, hey, yeah, we can do that. So that's it.
I'd like to clarify, just, you're pretty clear on the department heads, but what we were talking about was not so much that they're going to have input on the decision, but that he has a good conversation so that he knows what we need through talking to the department heads.
I envisioned that to be the same, the way we used it.
Yeah.
And they can be here if they want to ask a question or something like that. I'm assuming that you're going to be the lead person on this?
Yeah, not a problem.
Because I'll just say it like it is. The last one we did, there was, the mayor and council people were involved. And so it looked like 2 or 3 were doing all the work and getting all the information, and then the rest of the council would come in and not know what was going on. If you're the lead person, when you send something out or somebody knows something, we should all know it.
I will, yeah.
I don't want them calling me.
Yeah.
I don't think Anthony wants them calling him. It just didn't work good the last time. So if you're the lead person, I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, but there still will have the subcommittee that goes along with that, just getting feedback from the consultant on different topics and what have you. I'll do the organization coordinating and that type of thing.
But you're going to head that up, so you'll
Yes.
use them as you need them,
Yep.
and then report back. Anthony?
Or if I can just say, when it comes to reaching out to Mr. Freed, that's something I didn't do on my own. I went through the city manager because I figured, okay, it's best for him to do that. And, I think even though we have a committee, I have no problem with anyone having a question or request and reaching out to our city manager, but we just have to make sure we don't violate the Open Meetings Act. But my committee's goal is to bring everything to this body. And so we just are there to maybe be an extra stage to try to keep things moving along. And, because you just run into bumps. We've already run into bumps. Look where we're at. We're in March. But we're moving forward, so.
Right, and again, the point is that he can talk to Mr. Freed at any time, where we got to be careful what we're talking to about. So, does he?
They just do the add-on to the, with the committee meeting, and this is for the clerk to remind me, but there was a Supreme Court decision a couple years ago that changed with the subcommittee. So when I would draft a meeting, I would post it. Now, nobody ever showed up, but basically that you may have a quorum of council. Here's the members that are on the subcommittee. And, I'd send it out to the council, and if you want to attend, you can, because it's been duly noticed in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. And so it's just one of those quirks, that as a result of a Supreme Court decision that changed how we did business the previous 30 years. So it's, but I think at that point, we'll keep everybody apprised of where things are at, so.
I just want to assure everybody, as a member of that committee, Anthony is making darn sure we make no decisions that move us forward without talking to you. That's adamant.
Yep.
I appreciate that, just to be noted that, yeah, no decisions are made, but yet at least we get to a point in that we're moving in that direction, and every communication to Mr. Freed likely will go through the city manager, just to avoid any kind of that. So thank you for that.
Did he have any? Have you talked to him? So do we know? Are we going to have a subcommittee meeting? Are they going to do something the next week or two, or is it 4 weeks away, or what?
Oh, no, he's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. Yeah, if approved tonight, be my first call tomorrow. So, or maybe even tonight, I'll send him a text.
All right.
One more thing. I seem to recall that he did call us. We don't call him, but I thought we each got a phone call in our opinion about things. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like he didn't just call people, he called us. So I promise not to call him.
He really should work through it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All those in favor to hire Pivot Group, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider approval for an amendment to the POLC collective bargaining agreement. It had to do with vacation, I think.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Rodriguez.
I'm not sure I understand it, especially the part where it says at the end of the paragraph in the background, it says the language added is fair and that employees are posted vacation time on their employment anniversary date earned the preceding year. Is it basically just gonna prorate if they work half a year and then give
correct.
them that time? Is that the idea here?
Yeah, there was an interpretation prior to the current finance director that basically decided that there's nothing explicit in the collective bargaining agreement that says there will be an accrual. It's been a past practice, and the methodology is on your anniversary date, you're credited with so many hours based on the preceding year. You know, we thought we'll incorporate this into the language and the LOU and then that way going forward. And the fact that it's in the collective bargaining agreement, council approves those collective bargaining agreements which is why this amendment is before you.
So it's really a slight amendment to the contract. What it amounts to. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider authorization of the AMI implementation required meter replacements.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And do you want further information? The DPW director can answer your questions.
Absolutely.
Well, let's start over here. Do you have any questions?
No, good.
Now we'll go over here. Mr. Scott.
Well, I was very curious in this as to the number of meters that are just seemingly so far behind. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more in that story about money perhaps not being collected in that regard. So I wondered if that was implied in the report, but could you say a few words about that? That makes us feel better about this.
So when we ran the report, 2,200 of our about 4,100 meters are from 2000 and older, right? So all of these meters that are pushing 30 years old and even farther back have never been replaced. And so the return to the city is you have these really, really old meters, right? They're probably not working correctly. They're made mechanically different. They have parts in the middle of them that the water pushes through and they wear out, where the new meters are housed different and they don't have those parts in the inside. And so it's likely that we've been losing revenue on these very, very aged meters. And with the new AMI system that was approved, the return on investment is not going to be there unless these meters are updated, because we're not going to get accurate reading numbers for water and sewer.
Thank you.
It's been my experience, though, that they do slow down over a period of time unless you've got an aggressive program that's doing some bench testing and verifying, your meters, doing some sampling. And so if that's the case, it will make a difference in the revenue that comes forth, so.
Any other questions? Mr. Chen.
So we have a project of $1 million and what, 20,965. Tell me about Aetna Supply Company that you're proposing to sole source this project.
So Aetna Supply Company is who we bought our AMI system from. Aetna Supply Company is where we buy all of our meters, because they sell the iPearls. That's the brand we go with. That's the distributor for that brand of meters. So it only makes sense to use Aetna because this is the distributor for this system and our meters.
In the future, I think it would be helpful that we follow policy on sole source, and that is for us to have the information that you just mentioned, for instance, they're the only manufacturer, or, any of the three factors for sole source that are in our city code. So it talks about in the policy that when the city manager and or appropriate department head determines after good faith review of potential vendors that there's only one vendor for the required product or service. So if they're the only ones in Michigan that would meet that factor, but it would help to mention that. And it says sole source purchases are prohibited on purchases 20,000 without prior written approval of the council. So it's and then the other thing is, and this would fit, I think, with a lot of the water and sewer projects, is it says when the procurement is for a product that is part of a system or prescribed by grant funding, in which selection of alternative brand would alter the ability of the using department to operate and or maintain the system. So we've got three factors in. And if you could let us know in the future which sole source factor we're addressing. Thank you.
Can I just follow up? Is it proprietary? Is there software involved with this purchase?
Yeah, so I think the original AMI purchase was in your guys' packet. So this is basically an extension of what you have already approved. Yeah, it's all software.
Software.
Yep, everything will be software right downstairs. The meters will be transmitted every 1 second. So, and we'll be able to switch to monthly billing.
Keep in mind, Councilman Curtis, that the replacement meters is 745,000, and then the installation is another 275,000. So
Yeah, just to comment on that, it took me a while to bring this to you guys because I experimented with the DPW, and they started replacing meters. And because we can't dedicate a crew just to replacing meters, they did about 63 in 2.5 months. So them getting to 2,200 by November is probably not going to happen.
Quick question I have, just when we approved that, when that guy was here, the AMI system, and I think I was the one to ask you the question, will this work on all of our meters? And he said yes. And then he's come back and said no.
So we hadn't pulled the report yet, and what we were basing that on was, sorry, I wrote some notes here, was the transmitters only. And then when we pulled the report, because these transmitters can actually go on all the old meters, but they're not necessarily gonna work the way they're supposed to, because the old meters are, if you will, dumb meters, right? So they can work, but are they gonna work well? Probably not. Is the return on our investment gonna be there? Probably not. So it's not that they won't work, it's just they won't work the correct way.
All it did was irritate me that, because I know I asked that question, the guy was I don't know, I don't know if you people remember that question or not, but. I do. But that just kind of irritates me that they would come back and say then they won't work or they won't work as good. Just, I know we were worried about how many were gonna have to be replaced, so just so everybody knows, this is another $1 million that we didn't plan on spending. So when we vote on the manager's recommendation of 7 to 10% increase in sewer, or 15, then we're gonna have to tell the people that we're out of, the money's been spent. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I think the guy, I don't know him, but I think we got sold a bill of goods here because I was assuming it was all good to go, and when I read this and it said new meters have to be replaced, it's like, and then to the mill. Mr. Christensen.
Just with the 2,200 meters, you were just saying how long it took to replace 62, if I recall the number. How long will it take to replace 2,200?
So, I have an email here. So the base stations that you guys had already approved that will go on the water towers, they're gonna start installing those in the middle of April. And then, all the products will be delivered on site by June, and then they'll start installing by July and be done by December at the very latest.
So first, or 2027 will be fully operational rolling?
Yep. Mhm.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
On this is something that city is gonna take on, the cost of replacing the meters in the residents and that sort of thing, so, I asked because just this summer, I put in a second, water meter on my garden hose. You know, and at the same time, I believe they upgraded the original water meter that's with the house, as 1970 built house, so, but I was charged $300 and some odd for the second meter and that sort of thing, so I'm just wondering, you know, with the increase and all of the second meter sales would still continue as they are now, but they'd be an upgraded meter installed in the residence at, you know, the going rate or whatever that is gonna be.
What's the question?
The second meters are gonna continue to be an additional cost to homeowners to install.
Yeah,
At the going rate.
yep, yep. Any new meter on a new home is purchased by the homeowner. And then after that, the city will replace them as they age out. So the original cost of the meter is on the homeowner.
I guess off of that, is there a way that when the meters are installed, they could just be installed in a way so that, you know, they can read? Because the difference is whether the water's going through the sewer, because you got to pay for that, or not. If you're just putting it in your garden, putting a garden meter, the idea is that you don't have to pay for the sewage. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is there any way that the meters, as they're going in on these 2,200 homes, that can just be easily installed as well, or no, you have to have a whole secondary meter that is just reading that?
You have to
These
have
are
a
smart meters, they can't read whether it's going into the house or it's going out into the garden.
Well, there's the where the water's taken into the house and then where the water goes out of the house. How are they supposed to meter where it's going out? So when the water's coming in one main line to your house, right? And then you run it out your spigot, that water meter that's on the main line going into your house has no idea if it's going out your spigot or down your sewer.
So at least in my house, my meter's pretty deep into my house. I don't know if that's how it is for all houses. Like that spigot could easily just run from inside my house right out. And actually, maybe it does. Actually, I don't think it does. It's still after the meter for my garden hose.
It would be.
But is everybody's meter, I guess I don't really know this, I've only ever bought one house. Is their meter pretty deep into their house, like with piping, or is it like off to the side usually?
No, most people's meters are all like in their basements or somewhere inside of the house. We do have a few that are still pit meters that are out in the right of way or somewhere in the front yard.
I guess last question. Am I allowed to install my own spigot to outside before the meter if I pay for a plumber to come in and install that? Or does that not work? You still have to have a meter outside that runs that?
You still have to have the meter's only beneficial to you, so you don't have to pay the sewer charge on your.
Myself very well. I'll get with you on it later.
Yeah.
If I may, just a quick little education on it. No, you've got to run through the city in part because one of the things that we're always checking for is what's known as cross-connection. Sometimes folks will want to use the existing line and there's a chance where you can contaminate it with a cross-connection into the home. And so that's why we take, the way it's structured the way it is for that protection for the entire system.
Mr. Christensen.
Just a quick, because we're gonna have 2,200 meters that are gonna be taken out of service, the cost for a resident to purchase one to measure what we use on our lawns and gardens, will that price change? Or will it just continue on and those meters will be worked on to be used that way? Or
The old meters or the new meters?
the old ones that are coming off? Because if I want to water my lawn and I don't want to pay sewer, I have to purchase a meter or whatever. So will these meters go into that feed, or will we still have to do something different?
No, those meters will get scrapped.
Okay,
And you'll have to get a new meter.
okay, thanks.
Will he have to pay for that then?
A new meter? That's not one that we're replacing? Yes.
So if you want to water your garden, you're going to pay for a new meter. That's what your question was. And your other question was, is it the same price as what Mr. Newman paid, which was $395?
Three something, 350, somewhere in there, you know.
Yep, that's the price of the meter itself.
I'll run it to the OP water system,
So,
other people's.
So if Mr. Newman will have 2 new meters at his house then,
I do,
of the brand that works with the AMI system. You'll have to have 2 meters.
yes, I have 2 meters in my basement coming off the water main. And to Mr. Rodriguez's question is that the garden spigots or the cold water to go out to the front and the back or sides, wherever your outdoors water spigots are, they are plumbed separately from your regular water system. They're branched off, similar to what the city manager said. So if you lay your garden hose out in a mud puddle and it siphons back in, you know, these cross connections prevent that from getting in and contaminating the drinking water and that sort of thing. So they are separate, you know, plumbing systems. And so you can run the second meter, so you only get charged the $3.45 of regular water and not the, you know, whole $8 or $9 for sewer and water on that. And filling a 13,000 gallon swimming pool, I went halfway with a regular meter and then decided it was worthwhile to buy the second one, so.
Any other comments or questions?
I'm just curious as to, like, your report, that's with them going into the homes of 2,200 houses or thereabouts, depending on if they had 1 or 2 meters.
Well, so going back to Kevin, the 2,200 meters is the main meter feed into the house. This doesn't include a spigot meter. This is the main meter feed into your house. And then, what was your second question?
Oh, okay, so in the event that you're doing this, wherever it starts, and homes already have a sprinkler meter as it was defined.
Right.
Yeah, so then they would have 2. You would replace both with the
No.
newest meter at the same time?
No,
You would not do anything with the meter that is
sprinkler meter. Yes.
at this time?
Right.
Okay, so if it's already installed, we won't know about the water usage on that meter being up to date because it's an analog old meter that may not be operating to its full capacity because of its age, and we may be losing revenue potentially, but not as much because we're not losing the sewer dollars.
Right.
Okay, all right, so, and in that same case, all I want to know is, I personally think that you're doing great because this, the policy is the policy, but when something works together, it's not as convenient as diesel goes in every diesel vehicle. It's, this works with this system, that's what we need, based on what I'm understanding. Maybe opportunity for us to learn in the future. However, in the event that we go back into those homes again to replace sprinkler meters in the future, we're going in twice, and I want to know, out of those 2,200, how much opportunity for additional charge, because nobody knows what every one of these 2,200 homes' basements look like, if that's where we're going, and you can only imagine the things that some of these other people in these positions see when they go into a basement, when they're looking for the sprinkler meter, and yet there's all the Christmas for the last, 7 Christmas trees and on and on. So finding that sprinkler meter, what I'm asking is, are you going to be able to afford to do 2,200 homes, even given all the possibilities of out of the normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to be held accountable to doing.
Yeah, there's a third party that comes in. I mean, this is what they do.
Sure.
I mean, this is their job. This is what they do for Aetna. They come in, they bust out, they're actually doing Granville right before they do us.
Okay.
So this is what they do, yeah.
Okay. They just can't come back for any additional funds because
No,
they ran in.
it's price per, yep. And it would have to be approved by me first anyways.
Okay.
City manager?
I was just gonna say, we did, I don't know how many thousands in Monroe. We had probably close to 20,000 customers. We were outside of the city limits, and we did it over a period of 7 years, I think it was. These guys come in, they do them all the time, so when they give you a number like 2,200, they know there's gonna be some that are just gonna be awful to work with, and some of them will just be easy, and so they're pretty good with the number. They're good with the number on this thing, not pretty good. It is what it is.
Good.
Everyone else good? Roll call vote.
Fullerton,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Chin,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Motion carries. Consideration to authorize a EDA disaster recovery grant application.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consider authorize the application for MDARD and Rural Development Fair Capital Improvement Grant. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is there any match for this or no?
No. There's no match, and I liked where they spelled out, whereas the lease between the city and Eaton County Agricultural Society provides in that part that the society must maintain the buildings and structures on the property, and that's what they're trying to do. And we're just a body, a government body that says, we see their need, and we hope you give them the money. That's really what we're doing. Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mayoral appointments is on the list. And
Motion to approve.
move to approve. Is there a second?
Let me see that list again.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Chin, you asked for that to be,
Yeah.
Yep.
so we'll call.
I just had some quick questions here because I thought about it before but never asked. Do we use, what kind of vetting process is used to determine an appointment to a board or commission? Are there certain guidelines that we follow or, I mean, you know, and what brought it up is the appointments here. A couple of the people I know, a couple of people I don't know. And so what, you know, in the appointment to these committees, are any qualifications needed or required? Any exclusions? Council has to approve, should we have information on the proposed so that we are doing our due diligence? And, you know, we just went through, the county just went through trying to fill some of their commissions and that. You had to fill out an app and you had to give the reason why you were applying for that particular board, what experience you have in that area. And that's what got me thinking about our boards and commissions.
So you want to know how I determine which people? And it's the same process. People are requested to fill out an application.
Mhm.
And then they put on that application what experience they do have, where they live for one thing, you know, in the city, or depends what board they can be put on. And then by reading their application, what, some of them have some experience, some of them don't have very much experience. They have a want to serve, look for things like that. The first one is Tony Capro. He has to do with the TCAPs. That'd be the Downtown Development Authority. Renee Lester, go to the Planning Commission. She has experience on other, so the clerk takes all these in, and then I review them.
Okay.
And then Copper Frost, you've seen him here before.
Yep.
The Planning Commission, he sounds, John Lopp is just a reappointment, or appointment to the Brownfield. John Lopp is the chairman of the DDA. So, I think you all know him, but, yeah, they're vetted. They're not just, there's some that didn't make it. How's that?
Good. that makes me comfortable because, you know, I don't want to wake up in the morning and read in the paper that we've appointed a felon to,
No.
you know, the parole board.
We don't
You
do
know.
a background check on them, but the clerk takes it in first. She has a pretty good idea when she gives it to me to look at, you know, yea or nay, and then I can kind of feel out the rest of the way.
It could be viewed as a rehabilitation program if you become part of the planning commission as a felon. As long as you know, I mean, it brings a whole different, it depends on the felony, does it not? So, yeah, I think that you are right. There are two here that are reappointments. I've been with Renee for a long time, and Cooper's had plenty of time wanting to be a part of something, so. But I think it's a valid question, although it's been in place for the way it is for a long time.
It seems to work well. Any other questions?
Nope.
All those in favor of those 4 appointments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that brings us to public comment. The new Brownfield Development Authority member.
John Laup, 114 East Lovett. To start off, it happened long time ago, so it shouldn't come up in any records. Just kidding. A few things. Just the flock camera discussion interested me, so I did some quick searching here. I'm on the fence with these. I see the good that they can do, but I also, with anything, things can be unfortunately abused and bad things can happen. I did see there was a court decision that flock camera data is public record in the state of Michigan. Now, I think that's still being litigated, and I think it's something that more than likely our legislature has to deal with to have it excluded from FOIA, because even kept for 30 days, if you had somebody that every week or whatever is requesting this information for whatever vague reason, then we'd have to fight about, okay, we argue privacy, to deny the request, and it's a murky field. And once you start down the slope, it's hard to go back up. A couple things with the water. I am curious if the homeowners, the property owners of the 2,200 approximately are being notified of this. I wasn't sure about that. And if that's the case, when that information would be going out. If it already has and I'm not on it, then I don't know what my meter is as far as the age. I just know it's a pain in the butt to get to. And the final thing is, and I just had this confirmed by Toby Brummett, that Councilman Brummett was not describing his basement when he was talking about access to the meters. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Hello, my name's Janine Scott, 649 North Cochrane. I am learning about the flock cameras now, and I would be interested in knowing some data, like how long they've been up, how many rescues of children or missing people have happened since they've been up, how many stolen cars have been recollected since they've been up. I think that would help us know what the value is. I mean, you can say what they do and see that that would be a good thing, but I'd like that kind of data. But even in light of having that information and those numbers, I am very concerned about the safety of data and the security of data. 30 days is a long time, as John just mentioned, for somebody to ask over and over for the data. And what do they do with that? In the current situation of being concerned about data security throughout our society, that concerns me. I saw the article too about somebody who wrote an op-ed and is now being targeted. I don't
feel comfortable with that. That seems like a loss of freedom. So that has to be weighed against the good that it does. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Online? Jody, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Do I need to speak louder?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. I asked a couple questions to make sure I understand correctly. Are all of the new meters going to be installed inside the house? Mine is one of them that's out in the yard. And if they are going to be inside the house, how are they going to work with the homeowners every month to be able to get that reading as well as to do the installation? And what are the parameters that would take place if it happens to become a leak inside the home? And I think that's it for now. Thank you. Didn't want you to think I'd gone anywhere.
Thank you, Jody. Anybody else online?
Commissioner Christensen is.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Nicole Christensen, Eaton County Commissioner, District 12, and Charlotte City resident. I just wanted to, I didn't get to attend the meeting tonight, so I wanted to come on and give you an update as to a few things going on within District 12 at the county level. So it is the board's responsibility for the county to maintain the infrastructure. And recently, as of last Friday, Logan Bailey applied at the state and federal levels for funding that will help with operations into the future so that all of the communities within Eaton County benefit. And what he applied for was project funding FY 2026-27. Part of that, there's 4 things he applied for. I'm going to touch base on 3 quickly. Eaton County is requesting funding to replace the Eaton County Animal Control Shelter in Charlotte. The critical facility has reached the end of its useful life and is no longer capable of supporting the essential public safety functions of a modern animal care and control building. So the need is 2.5 million. We will see between the 3 different entities that we applied with if we can get any of that. The other thing he reached out for was the Eaton County Missing Middle Housing Fund. So Eaton County is requesting funding to help establish a missing middle housing and community development fund to cover up to 20% of the total costs associated with the housing development activities throughout the entire county. And then the last thing I wanted to touch base on, he also applied for the Eaton County Bank Intercounty Drain Project, which is a 58.4 million drain project, one of the largest ever in the mid-Michigan area. And we need to find some relief for these residents in the municipalities that are in that. He did request $10 million for that. And that would be hitting the most marginalized communities within Eaton and Ingham counties, but it's definitely needed. At this time, that's all I've got from the county level for District 12. And thank you for all you guys do. Have a great night.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll close public comment. Go to staff comments. We have 1 staff left.
Yeah, I'm just gonna touch base on the implementation. So when they come in, they'll have their whole program. They do it themselves. You'll be able to schedule appointments with them. I haven't talked to them about the super details of it, but I'm assuming they'll send out mailers. You'll be able to call. You'll be able to schedule your appointment. They'll get into your house when it's convenient for you. They'll change it out. That's it.
As long as can you answer Jody's question without looking?
What was her question?
I got it.
The outside meters are all going to go inside the house? Her meter's in a pit outside, so is that going to move inside?
I don't think so. It'll stay where it's at.
Mr. Manager?
And I think part of her question also is on a monthly basis coming out. Once those transponders are in place, there's no need to go back and forth. In fact, I will tell you, I've had One time in Farmington, a call from them saying, I think you got a leaky toilet. And because of your continuous, periodic run. So that it'll provide information so that there's probably nothing worse than dealing with somebody that had a leak that they weren't aware of, and now they get a quarterly bill worth about $3,000. So this will stay on top of that detail based on, much like what your electric and natural gas meters function in providing those smart meters, so.
So the answer to Jody's question is that if they're in a pit, they'll stay in the pit? Okay. Hope that answers that. And then, along with that, for public comment, can you have Chief Brentar do a quick,
Yeah, I'll see what he's got as far as data
here's some successes or how many we've had? I know he was at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. He talked about a number on his report, and it was like up 3,000% or something. And he said that had to do with flock cameras and finding stolen vehicles and that kind of stuff, so.
I've got that as a note to follow up.
I would agree, that'd be good information for everybody to have, if it's really good or bad. No other staff comments, so we can start with the council down here.
Sure. As we've already mentioned, I'm going to CapCon tomorrow, and this is a CARC meeting week, and that's kind of exciting. CARC has gotten a lot of attention lately, and yeah, we're pretty active these days, including Julie Davis, yeah, from the pool. It's a nice relationship that we've reestablished. So that's this Thursday at 5:30. But yeah, we'll be giving a fine report on CapCon when we come back, thanks to Jeff.
Okay, Mr. Chen? You didn't send it out to us.
No, I was putting it together as I was leaving. Just want to make sure that the city is aware of the new ADA rules for websites and social media postings. Small towns like us have until April 2027, and it calls for it outlines, the new regulation outlines how digital content must be structured, labeled, and presented so it can be used by individuals with visual, auditory, mobility, and cognitive disabilities. And local units will be required to ensure all public-facing digital content meets this requirement, including websites. So if you haven't, you probably need to take a look at that. I did attend a tenant meeting at Edmond Senior Citizen Apartments along with Councilman Curtis, and I really feel sorry for those folks sometimes with some of the issues. The code enforcement officer was there. I think he did a great job in keeping the crowd from getting out of hand, and because it could have gone bad quickly. I want to thank our DPW for their work during the frigid cold weather. I happened to stop at where we're working on a manhole, and it was like minus something out, and these guys are just going to it and says, hey, it's got to be done. And so I just want to commend them for their hard work. I also participated as a speaker at the request of State Senator Sarah Anthony in her monthly town hall. I attended a seminar on housing TIF guide, how communities can establish strong housing TIF policies. And as we move more into the housing, we're going to need to take a look at development of TIF policies for that. I also attended an Eagle Brownfield program updates in preparation for our Brownfield meeting. I had talked earlier about the Michigan Municipal League housing proposal, the My Homes program. As of today, the My Homes program has now been introduced in the Michigan House on a bipartisan basis, and it's a series of bills for those that weren't here before. that is addressing the housing problem for workforce folks and underprivileged folks as well. I reported on the bills introduced in the House to take away the local government authority for zoning regarding housing. State mandated housing, in my opinion, does not work. They want to put a cookie cutter out there and say everyone in the state has to follow this, and I think that's more burdensome than helpful from that standpoint. We've been, cities and townships have been doing their own zoning requirements, and we just spent a bunch of money to do our zoning ordinance as well, and it really encompasses, I think, the essence of the community and not the overall state in mandating some of the things that they're mandating. So if you do get a chance, call or write your representatives at the state and let them know that you think it's a bad idea. I was wondering, and I've asked this question before, and I really never got an answer. When we have citizen complaints or questions during public hearing or the public speaking portion of the meeting, we're not allowed to exchange with them. How do we track those, and how do we know that anybody's even addressed some of those? I mean, do we have a complaint system in place, or somebody logs those in and then follows up? I've always been curious how we handle those. And then, of course, this week I think a letter went out, and maybe not. Gary Beebe, I got a copy of it with some issues and complaints, and I don't respond to him. I'll be sending it to you, but I wasn't sure if I was going to check with you if you had even gotten it. Also, too, I want to thank, and he's gone now, but the Assistant Fire Chief, Dan. Ever since I've been on council, I wanted a digital sign placed at the West Side Fire Station. It's been like a pet thing for me, and he has now acquired one through the generous donation of the school district, saving tons of money, and it's just customized for the fire station. So I want to. He stayed on it, and I want to thank him. I know he applied for some grants to try to get it, but now he's got it. So from that situation. Also, I believe I sent out similar to what the House did with Tom Barrett and his request for projects. Our senators, especially Senator Peters, has requested for projects as well. And I don't know, the deadline is a little bit longer than the House, but if you have not seen that, let me know, and I have it. I received a copy of it. I also wanted to mention in terms of the policy for grants. I understand there's a policy that all grants have to come to council first. My thought is that, if the grant is at no cost to the city, that we should allow our folks and departments to go ahead with the approval of the city manager, primarily because some of these come and have very, very short deadlines. And I think we're missing out on some grants that, because of that, and having to wait for council to approve. So I'd like for the city manager to think about maybe a new policy that says maybe if the money is, again, over a certain amount, then it has to come before the council first, and if not, the city manager is authorized to approve it. So just food for thought. Also, too, I will be proposing through resolution a change in the purchasing policy, where It affects only the purchases between 10 and 20. They would still be allowed informal bids, but, an attempt to get 3 bids plus the bid tabulation should come to council before approval. I know when we raised it to 20, it was an issue because it takes a lot of work to put formal bid packages out. So we're not changing any of that, and we're using the existing policy. The only change would be that before we enter into the purchase, that the council approve it. So anything between 10 and 20,000. And that's the end of my comments.
Before you get started, Mr. Rodriguez, I know that we talked about this before. Answer to your question on the public comment is that the chair can allow somebody reaction. I mean, we can talk back and forth, but we also did do it at a meeting. We said, and that's why I did that tonight, is ask the manager to follow up. So I make a list of it if there's, and there was 2 tonight, but I've already got them covered because she was able to answer the question. So that's how that's been. I agree with you that we should give them an answer, and she shouldn't have to come back here if we can give it tonight. So that's a good one. And on the purchasing agreement, did you say you're going to make a proposal sometime?
Yeah, for the next meeting.
Okay, you're going to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez.
All right, well, I don't have much. There's talk about the cameras today, so I just want to add a little context to that. There is, just through my research, I found according to recent YouGov and civil liberties surveys, this is from September 25th to September 2025 to January 2026, 33% of those polled said that they strongly oppose, they oppose the cameras, the automatic license plate cameras. So that's 33% of Americans, with 21% saying they're unsure and often stating that they need more information. So I just point that out to say, I'm your first guy you're going to meet right here, Mr. Bromer, who says I am against them. So now you know one, but there's actually 33% of Americans with an additional 21 who are unsure. So a lot of people are concerned about this, and some people aren't. And so I guess that's why we have a democracy. We get to vote, and our vote is 6-1. So we have cameras. That's how it is. All right, that's it. Thanks.
We'll go with Mr. Rummett.
So there is no Parks meeting, board meeting for this next Tuesday, so in case you were planning on attending, you don't have to. But on that note, challenged on multiple levels. Try to be very aware of all that's going on, but I do believe that we, as a whole, could do a lot better about educating ourselves. So if you are opposed to whatever that might be, maybe it's the playground equipment that got removed that was well dated, something like that. Make it known ahead of time. It's better if you could at least say, hey, listen, I was very fond of the merry-go-round and I'd like to see it stay, as opposed to now it's gone and I never used it or I didn't even know it existed. Or today, and I'll speak it on the record, and that's what I love about these meetings, the flock cameras. If you don't know how they work, become educated. Just because you're opposed to them doesn't mean you know how they work. It just means that you said to the survey, I don't like them. I don't think they work properly, for whatever you see fit. But if you can be educated on whatever matter in this city or throughout, and you can make an educated decision on why you stand the way you do, that's fine. But just to join the masses on whatever it is that you're opposed to, that's as easy as saying I'm opposed or I'm in favor of. You need to really be educated before you make that decision. Because here, when I tell you what I tell you before all of you, when I say this is the way I stand on it, it's either because I've done the research or I'm uneducated, and I'll tell you, I'm not sure, so therefore I don't have a decision one way or another. I did say strongly that if my wife came up missing and that was an opportunity to find her, I would totally be on board with that. And anyone who doesn't want that, good luck finding them on your own accord. I did work closely with our city DPW department to assist them to be able to learn how to more properly care for trees. It's not to say that they don't know, but we have a very young DPW staff, if you didn't know that. And anyone who did, good for you. But anyone who didn't, you know now why it is challenging sometimes for them to do all the jobs, because it takes time to learn how to do whatever that job would be. And there's a lot of jobs that are encompassing that. So I was very pleased, privileged, and all kinds of other words in favor of being able to show them what I do, extending the knowledge that I have, although it may not be all-encompassing, to try to help them to make sure that they go home at the end of the day, that the liability to our trees and to them and to anyone who's in the area of a pruning job or removal is safer because of the education. And they all seemed very engaged and willingly learning. And we were able to do that in a tree that needed to come down anyway, in a setting where there was no public, and the buildings were fairly safe and very little chance of any damage. So I think that that was awesome. I hope that I have other opportunities in the future. And anyone who potentially possesses an ability to extend that to those who may not know how to do whatever it is you do, I'm asking you to put that effort into that. It's not right to keep that knowledge back in hopes that, you know, you're going to be that sole provider of that knowledge. So I think that's about all I've got for this moment, but thank you very much for the opportunity.
Just thanking everybody that showed up here and the ones that are online. I did have one question on the pivot group. Initial prediction on finding a replacement city manager was 3 to 6 months. Now that we've gone with pivot group, do they have a pool that's going to shorten that time, or is that still pretty accurate, you know, timing?
I think they were looking at 2 months to have maybe somebody selected, which is a very aggressive schedule. I usually figure maybe 3 months once you give them the go-ahead, but you know, they've got a system and they stay on top of it, particularly when I talked with some of the subcommittee members. It was on top of it and they kept going, so the last time. So, you know, 2-3 months I think is a reasonable time. So, you know, I think hopefully by sometime in May you should have somebody at least selected.
Thank you. First off, thanks to all of you that attended tonight, whether your presence is here or online. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank Representative Whitwer for being here tonight. I wish we seen our representatives more. I think getting a little heads up on some of that information of what they're doing down there eventually can help us if we get it early enough. So it was very nice to see her. Also, I wanted to thank the DPW on their social media, on their Facebook page, when they've got projects and things going on around the city that can inconvenience citizens, they're getting them posted out there in advance. So people that do use it, at least we get a chunk of them, and they know to avoid that area. So I find that very helpful. Also, this Saturday night, the Eaton County Agricultural Society is holding its annual fundraiser down at Cardell Hall. Great dinner, always have some nice Chinese raffles, a lot of fun, very well attended. So if you get the opportunity, please come down and support the society. Let's see. I wanted to congratulate James McCray, stepped up and was voted in as chairman of the Planning Commission. He's been there a long time, worked side by side with Councilman Brummett when he was chair, so I think they'll continue to do great things. I'm also one that's going to be out of town for a couple days for CapCon 2026 in Lansing. Another great educational opportunity. I learned a lot last year, and I think I'll even learn more this year. I also get the honor to be a moderator at one of the sessions this year, so looking forward to that. And I wanted to thank City Manager Pastiu for jumping at a moment's notice and getting some projects submitted to Representative Barrett's office for some legislative appropriation requests. That's all I have. Thanks.
The only thing I have is that the clerk only had 2 council members request funding for next year's stuff, so we'll have a good number, but it was maybe 7,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't remember. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.